might be prejudicial, the judge reluctantly agreed and advised the jury to forget they had heard the offending words. The inspector started reading Standfast's testimony, his voice rather loud for the mostly empty courtroom, his tone suggesting a penchant for amateur dramatics. P.C. Standfast had first observed the vehicle, a Ford Model T, coming toward him on Preston Road at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It had been travelling in the centre of the highway at what he considered an excessive speed. Only a few seconds later, it had abruptly swerved to the left and crashed through the plate-glass window of number 146, the Eternal Rest Funeral Parlour. P.C. Standfast had hurried toward the scene, a distance of about 100 yards, worried that someone might be badly hurt, but on reaching the spot had found 2 men in the automobile's front seats laughing hysterically. The man behind the wheel, half of whose face was covered by one of those tin masks commonly worn by soldiers who'd suffered facial disfigurement in the war, was so taken by the humour of the situation that he was rhythmically beating his hands on the steering wheel. All true, McColl thought, aware of the stares of several jurors. His and Nate Simon's sudden confrontation with a window display of coffins had at the time seemed a joke of almost cosmic proportions. "I see you still find this amusing," the judge commented, noticing McColl's involuntary smile. "You had to be there," McColl replied. The judge gave him a contemptuous look and invited the inspector to continue. According to P.C. Standfast, he had been about to order the 2 men out of the automobile when he noticed that the driver, Nathaniel Simon, had no legs. The vehicle had been adapted for his use, hand levers bolted to the foot pedals in what appeared a highly slapdash manner. "Mr. Simon chose to end his own life in police custody, I believe," the judge noted. "Yes, my lord," the inspector said. "One might consider him the second victim," the judge went on, looking at the jury. One could, if one wanted to influence the verdict, McColl thought, though only a fool would deny that Nate had been a victim. Thinking it unlikely that a man with no legs would step out of the car, P.C. Standfast had asked the man in the passenger seat to do so. "The defendant, Jack McColl?" "Yes, my lord." P.C. Standfast had then asked Mr. McColl to help him get the driver out of the car, at which point Mr. McColl had punched P.C. Standfast in the face, causing him to fall backward and, as he discovered much later, to hit his head on the edge of the roadside curb. "P.C. Standfast was in a coma for 5 weeks, the detective added helpfully. He was dismissed with fulsome thanks, and the lack of any opportunity for the defence to question or challenge the absent witness blithely noted. 2 other witnesses were duly heard and confirmed the basic outlines of the incident. Neither had been close enough to hear the exchange of words. By the time the second man left the stand, it was almost noon, and the judge was apparently hungry. The case for the defence would be heard that afternoon. McColl was escorted back down to the basement for his own feast, a chunk of yesterday's bread with a slice of ham, washed down with a decent mug of tea. It was an improvement on the fare at Pentonville, to which he assumed he would soon be returning. He was resigned to a lengthy sentence, and much of the time was inclined to think he deserved one, if not for this particular crime. He had the feeling that things were finally catching up with him, that his ham-fisted search for atonement had been finally deemed insufficient by some nebulous higher authority. As was often the case at such moments, his thoughts went back to that day in Moscow, almost 3 years before. The anguished look on the young boy's face when McColl had told him he couldn't take him to England. 11